Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of new exciting additions to R2-D2. These are produced by Stan Solo, which is run by Chris Smith, formerly of Smith Lord Creations. Now, over the years, a lot of people have sort of thought that Kenner could have done an awful lot more with R2-D2, and there are a few very simple things that they really missed the trick on. One being the fact that they never produced an R2-D2 with a middle leg, apart from the one that came with the droid factory, I know, but a basic on-the-card figure with a middle leg. And then there were also some other gadgets that they missed out on R2-D2. The main one being the serving tray that you see him with when he's on Jabba's sail barge. And Stan Solo have now produced these as little additional bits that you can buy and add to your original vintage Kenner figures. So first up, let's take a look at the middle leg, which is a key part to R2-D2. You can even see it in the photograph there of R2-D2. So let's take a look at that. So here we have R2-D2 and R2-Q5 with the addition of the extra middle leg, and it does make quite a big difference to the figures because this is how you tend to see R2-D2 a lot in the movies, and it's amazing that Kenner never actually bothered to make a version of R2-D2 with this leg. I say they didn't manage to do it. They did in one sense. They did in the droid factory. You could get this R2-D2 which had an additional leg that you could slot into the bottom of it, but this leg wouldn't actually fit in any of the other versions of R2-D2. I have a pop-up version of R2-D2 here. This is the sensor scope version, and you can see that leg doesn't actually fit in. You can sort of modify it a bit, but it really just doesn't want to go in there. So the only version you could get was this droid factory one, and it's not the greatest version of R2-D2. So what Chris has done is he's taken this as a bit of inspiration and made a new version of the leg that fits inside the pop-up lightsaber version of R2-D2. So let me remove this from here so you can see what it looks like. That is how the leg comes to you. You can get it in black and in white. It's got a small little sort of stud on the back of it, which fits very neatly into the pop-up R2-D2's underside. You see there's a hole there, which is where you access the screw to unscrew R2-D2's head, but you can just slot this leg in there. And there you have R2-D2 with a middle leg. As I say, it comes in black as well. So this is the R2-Q5 that Smith Lord Creations has on sale at the moment. Again, it's the same version of the droid. So this has a pop-up lightsaber in it. It's just in red. I've shown you this in a review, so go and check that out. But you can also get this black version of the leg, which does very neatly click in place and just makes that droid look a whole lot better. Now I'm hoping at some point that Chris and Stan Solo do a sort of modified version of this leg that fits in the other two types of R2-D2, because the pop-up lightsaber version of R2-D2 has actually a smaller hole here in the base where you access the screw for the head. If we look at, this is the sensor scope version of R2-D2, so this is a vintage figure, you can see that the hole in the bottom is actually a lot larger, so this leg currently won't fit in there. It could be modified, and I think I might actually do some modifications to one of these so that it will fit in this figure, but currently it doesn't. So maybe it's something to think of in future. If they made a slightly different version of this with a slightly bigger peg there, it would fit in the other figures, but for now it only fits in the pop-up lightsaber version of R2-D2. And I have to say, it does make a real big difference to the figure, because I've always wanted a nice R2-D2 that had a middle leg that you could just display like that. So it's certainly something that's worth getting and adding to your collection. And if you picked up one of these R2-Q5s, I would say you might as well get the leg for that as well at the same time, just because it's a nice little addition there. And now we move on to the serving tray, which I think is a lovely little addition to any sort of R2-D2, especially if you're into making dioramas. One thing that you'll want to have is this, because when you see R2-D2 on Jabba's sail barge, he has basically been turned into a serving sort of mobile drinks dispenser type thing, and this is what you need to make him look the part. Now this is an all new mould and sculpt, and as you can see it's been made in a combination of gold and silver plastic. The gold plastic actually matches a sort of gold plastic that's used on Jabba's dais, and then we've got the little containers there, little glasses for putting the drinks in, and a little serving arm which is where the drinks are dispensed from, and this all very neatly just clips over the legs of any R2-D2 unit. You can see here this is a solid dome version of R2-D2, and I can just clip that in place and it fits really snugly and holds on really nicely. Now this is something I've seen Hasbro produce over the years. I've actually got one here. This is a R2-D2 from 2010, and Hasbro's version of the serving tray actually requires the droid to have a hole in the top of the head so that the arm fits into that. But the way the Stan Solo version has been made, that arm is actually attached to the whole serving tray. You can see it here on the bottom. It just sort of is welded into that, so you don't require to modify your figure at all. It just clips on very nicely, and there's a whole load of detail on this. You can see there's a nice amount of sculpting, little rivets and holes really all over. There's a great amount of detail. Even that little arm there looks like it would actually work. I just like the fact that this is such a sort of simple idea, but really makes quite a big difference to the figure, and this will fit on, as I say, to any R2-D2 figure. If I bring in the one with the middle leg here, I will have to remove the middle leg, but this is a pop-up lightsaber version of R2-D2, and you can see I can take the drinks tray off that and it will clip on very nicely. I've not actually tried it on an R5-D4, but I doubt that would fit because the R5-D4 has a much higher head, but certainly for R2-D2s that works really nicely. And as I say, if you're into making dioramas, this is a key element that would really make a great addition. I'm certainly going to display this R2-D2 next to my Jabba's sort of dios because I think it just looks lovely. So as I mentioned, these are available from Stan Solo. I'll put a link in the description so that you know where to get them from. Currently you can get the middle legs in white and black, and they do only fit in the pop-up lightsaber version of R2-D2. I would hope in future that maybe they will make some modifications and do a version of the middle leg that will fit in all the types of R2-D2, because I think there's going to be other people who would want to put that in the early versions of R2-D2 with the solid dome and the pop-up sensor scope. The drink serving tray does fit onto any vintage style R2-D2, so that's really good for any sort of customizing there. I just think these are lovely little additions, and I like these sorts of things being produced because I'm sure there's quite a lot of other areas that we could cover on vintage Star Wars figures, things that weren't made and sort of little additions that can work in dioramas, and these sorts of things are just perfect for that. So I hope my review of these Stan Solo sort of new additions to R2-D2 have been of interest to you. Please check the description to see where you can get those, and if you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to tap the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.